Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to all of you. Okay, today we are going to have our PLC entitled Scoring Writing Paper 2021. First of all, I am going to welcome our advisor, our chairperson, Madam Nuraini binti Muhammad Noor, our SIIC Plus officer, Madam Julia binti Abdul Muttalib, our event manager, Miss Junisa binti Fazli Kalimutu, our committee members, and of course, our audience. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, so first of all, before we dive deeper, this PLC is a collaboration between JKD and PPMP, Panel Perunding Mata Pelajaran. Okay, it aims to help teachers to have better understanding, especially in regards of scoring for writing paper 2021. Okay, for your information, our speaker today, she is one of the teachers in SMK Kelapa Sawit. Okay, she has been teaching since 2014. Okay, she has obtained her bachelor education in Castle from University of Portsmouth, United Kingdom. Impressive, isn't it? And she is currently pursuing her master degree in UTM Skudai. Okay, she also one of the pentaksir kawasan for PT3 examination, and recently she was selected as JU Penskoran for our district Kulai. Okay, so during her leisure time, she enjoys hiking and traveling. Okay, so in this PLC today, okay, we are going to cover 4 areas. Okay, first of all, we are going to know about the descriptors. Okay, and then we are going to learn on how to apply the descriptors, and then we move forward. We are going to go through the dummy script. And if you have the authentic script from your student, you can share it with us. So we are going to mark them together in the session. Okay, last but not least, okay, before the session ends, we are going to have Q&A session. Okay, so I present to you our presenter for today, Miss Nandini Indran. Okay, Miss Nandini, the stage is yours.
All right, thank you very much, Kak Aisha. Can everyone hear me? Can you just shout in the chat box? Am I loud enough? And Izu, you can put up the slide. Right, okay. As Kak Aisha mentioned, we are a team of teachers from Kulai, and we are happy and proud to present this to all of you. Okay, and bear in mind that this is a very informal session. So if you have any questions, our moderators will pick up your questions in the chat box. Okay, so shall we start? Can you put a thumbs up or okay in the chat box so we know that you are with us? Okay, good. Thank you, teacher Farida. You said loud and clear. All right, okay. Izul, can we move on to the first slide? Okay, I'll start off by giving a brief review, okay, because our SPM has gone through tremendous changes, okay? So there's no more notion of continuous writing or directed writing, okay? So this writing will encompass 25% of their actual grade, okay? So the equal emphasis for reading, writing, listening, and speaking, okay? So 25% of the overall candidate grade will contribute to the actual SPM results for English. And there are 3 sections. They are aimed at different levels, starting from A2 up until B2. And there is an increase in the level. So task 1 or part 1 is slightly easier to achieve a higher band compared to 2 and 3. We will look at it in a while. And there are different word limits for task part. So when you teach your students, it is important to inform them of the word limit as well, because I have had students spending more time in task one, part one, but they do not have sufficient time to manage their task part two and part three. So be aware of the word limit so they can plan and draft their essays well. And the duration for this test, with 3 parts of writing, okay, it is 1 hour and 30 minutes. So tentatively, they can spend around 20 to 30 minutes per task. Okay, and each part is 20 marks, and the total mark for writing paper is 60 marks. Okay, and it's marked at a 5-band scale. We will go through everything. If you have been marking PT3, I think this will make more sense to you as opposed to teachers who have been only teaching upper form. Okay, any questions so far? Is it clear? 25%, there will be 4 skills. So today we will only look at writing part 1. Okay, because we have a time constraint. No questions? Right, okay. Hazel? Okay, this has been taken from the buku format. Don't worry if you can't see it. I know it's minute. So I'm just putting up all the 4 papers so you can see them. It is 25% wajaran for each paper. Izul, I think we can move on to the next slide. Okay, so this is part 1, part 2, and part 3, where 1 and 2 are compulsory and there isn't a choice. Okay, the first part will be an informal writing, usually to a friend or a cousin or a family member, and it is about 80 words. Okay, some teachers often ask me, can they go more than that? I would say the more they write, the tendency to make mistakes are greater. So try and train them to write like 80 to 100 words. Some students are really good, but they spend too much time in task 1 when they should be actually putting their effort and energy in scoring part 2 and part 3. Okay, we will discuss further. And part 2 is an extended essay, so slightly longer, and it's also compulsory. Okay, and part 3, there are a choice of 3 tasks. It could either be an article, a review, a report, or a descriptive story. So they have the choice, it's up to them. So when we teach according to the full blast textbook or our download textbook, so we go through all the genres. So they are aware of the different genres. It could be movie review or a food review or even a restaurant review. Okay, so only here they have the choice of choosing. So they can weigh in like whichever task is they feel strongly about, they can go for it. Okay, Izu? Okay, these are the relevance to curriculum, the forms and functions they have been learning. So like 4.1, 4.2 are all relevant to the first task, informal message writing. 20 marks and it's compulsory task. Next, Izu. Okay, so this is the example given by Lembaga Peperiksaan in their buku format. So this is an email form and they have to reply to this email. Okay, the question says, the school holiday is finally here. Let's go for a picnic with our friends. Again, friends is denoting the notion of informal. So they should be aware and not do things like dear sir or madam with regards to, so formality is very important in part 1, 2, and 3 as well. Next, where shall we go? So again, this is where our CA comes in, communicative achievement and our content. So the first thing that they should talk about is the place, okay, the venue where they'd like to go. And what can we do there? Here, the activities. And what should we bring? So if you look at this question, there are 3 different things. Okay, so the task fulfillment should be all these 3. We will look at the dummy script later, and Izul will be sharing a Google Drive link. So the dummy scripts and the writing instructions will be there. So don't worry. And again, as I've mentioned earlier, I will be waiting for your reply by. Okay, now write an email to your friend in about 80 words. Okay, so very short, simple, direct, and it should be informal. Okay, because it's a friend. not a formal letter asking for a job application or along those sides. Okay, so that's one. Any questions so far? So that's part one. So we have to move away from our directed writing, our content, our language, our format, and all that. Okay, teacher? Slowly but surely. Next, is a okay. This is part two. It's a guided writing, slightly longer, and it's a formal text. So there's no how are you and all that. It could be ranging from disadvantages or an argument, expressing your opinions or feelings, and etc. Next, I'll look at a sample for you. Okay, so this is a compulsory question. You must answer this question, and it's 125 to 150 words. Since the length is given, although over length is not penalized, but try and tell them not to go beyond, like, let's say 200 words. Okay, Izul, it's gone missing. Okay, I've got a question. Does the word count include the addresses in? No, no, no. There's no emphasis on the format. So the email address or the name or the subject given at the top has no marks at all. So you only look at the content, the reply of the email given to the student. Okay. So even if they do not write an email address at the top, it's fine. You don't penalize them because only the reply is marked, and it's holistic marking. You read the whole thing. Okay, thank you, Izul. And thank you, teacher Ram Eddie, for that question. Yeah, so do not ask them to count. Next, question two. There's a scenario given. Your class has been discussing how they spend their money, and your teacher has asked you to write an essay about what would you spend your money on. Okay, so this is like money management, financial awareness, and all that. And there are 3 points given to students. Okay, and we as teachers are to encourage them to use it as a checklist when they write in their paragraphs. If they have answered the first point, put a tick. If the second one has been answered, another checklist, another tick. Okay, because okay, let me go through that. But in your essay you should write about, okay, the 3 points are given, what you would like to buy. Okay, so any object, if it's a book or a favorite novel or comic book, okay, any object, and reasons for your choice. Bear in mind that it's not singular. Reasons, so more than one should be provided for us teachers to mark. Okay, so we are the readers and they should hold our attention by giving us reasons, and they should actually convincingly write why those things matter to them and why they would like to spend money on them. And where do you usually buy these things? If you look carefully, here it's not a thing, it is things. So it could be more than one. It could be like a series of books or a series of novels, or if a student would like to buy a gadget. So it could be more than one. Okay, where do you usually buy these things? So do not penalize them if they only write things or thing, because it's holistic marking. Okay, so the task fulfillment should be on where. Is it a shopping mall, or can you get it at the pasar malam, so where they can actually get it. So if all these three things have been answered, then you can give them the higher band or the highest band 5. If not, you bring it down, either 4 or a 3, according to your according to the scripts. I have a question. Part 2 includes formal and informal. No, part 2 is actually formal writing. So there isn't informal letter or informal emails in part 2. Only part 1 is of an informal letter, informal email, sorry. Letters are very archaic, right? So no letters, it's just emails. Okay. Yeah, I think we can go to the next one. Okay, as I said, it's an extended writing. And as far as I am concerned, and during the JU meeting, they specifically mentioned that it will take a format. There are options. Sorry, for part three, the format will be introduced because part one, it's an informal email, so there is an emphasis on the format. But for part three, article. So you know definitely an article should have a title, for instance. Okay, so there's a special format. A review, you know, the language should be very convincing and it should be persuasive for you to actually read a review and you want to go to the movie or you want to go to the restaurant to try a new food menu, for example. Okay, so the language stylistics all will come in more in part three. Or it could also be a report. Again, report also has a specific format, right, teachers? So when we teach them in our writing, we should actually focus on all these formats and genres. But one might ask, do we still have to teach speech or dialogue? I would actually say follow the textbook because CEFR is actually assessment based on what the textbook is all about. So if our textbooks, for example, full blast or download, does not emphasize on speech writing, so probably we don't have to do that because it might not be assessed. Okay, and the relevance to curriculum. Okay, that's 4.1 and 4.2. Okay, let's look at an example. Izu, could you go to the example? Okay, so this is the first example. So an article. Okay, so imagine that this is a article. This is a notice on a notice board outside a school library. The theme is my school canteen. Okay, what other types of food would you like to be served? Okay, here you must teach your students the WH questions because it will usually revolve around what or why or how, those things. So if they don't know the meaning of such words, they might not be able to answer. They might not be able to use a mind map or to brainstorm their ideas. So here they are prompting the students by asking like what other types of food. So what, it should be a noun or an object. So what types of food? Do you want Western or do you want Asian food more in your canteen? And next, what special facilities? So facilities here is a common vocab. So Form 5 students should be able to understand and should be able to bring out their own points. So when we teach when we follow the textbook, so please use the vocab and if possible, if your students are quite weak, it's a good idea to give them a vocabulary list. So if at all this theme is asked in your exam, so you may be using the common phrases or vocab that is thematically appropriate to answer a question. Okay, so special facilities, again, a modal verb is used here, would and should. So again, this is the student's idea. So what they think should be improved in the canteen. Quite high level, right? If you have weaker students, they might just shut off because if it's a directed writing, points will be given and they have to just fill in, not fill in, they have to just answer each points, right? But now they have to come up with their own ideas. So again, lots of scaffolding in part 3, I would say. And how can you improve your canteen? Again, if they don't understand the word improve, it's going to be a huge problem for students. So these are the words that we should be familiarizing them with. Okay, improve facilities and things like that. Next, write us an article answering these questions. So it has to have the title and the opening, the body, and also conclusive paragraph summing up the whole article. Okay, so that is one. Next, Izul. Okay, this is a review. Okay, here movie has been used. So let's look at it. Reviews required. Have you watched any interesting movies lately? Send us your movie review. Say what you enjoyed about the movie. So, do you think a student can write about a movie that they hated? Do you think that is required? That is task fulfillment? You can write in the chat box. Don't worry. Okay, because the question is you enjoyed about the movie, but this really very good student decided to play around and say I hated this movie for all these reasons. Do you think that is okay? I'm only saying morning, morning, morning. Okay, good morning, everyone. Does anybody want to type? Is it okay if your very, very good student decides to write about a movie that he or she hated? Will that be okay? You, okay. Mm. Teacher Noor Sharliza Hussein says, I think it's okay. Okay, since it's holistic marking, they could actually hate the movie, but the movie might have been interesting. Okay, look at the first sentence. It is actually any interesting movies lately. Okay, so do not penalize them, give them the benefit of the doubt. Okay, read through the whole script. If you think it answers all the requirements, task fulfillment, organized really very well, you can actually give them. Okay, we will look at it in other sessions later on. Okay, so would you recommend the movie to your friends and why? Again, you have to. Why is the screen smaller? Okay, recommendation means so you have to be persuasive. Like, why would you recommend the movie? Does it have a good plot, or is it very, or is the genre very appealing to teenagers, or the reason should be convincing. Okay, I have a question from teacher Susan. In the textbook, it's 5 paragraph and must it can be. Actually, paragraphing do not carry extra marks. If they have organized each paragraph with linkers and cohesive devices, it should be okay. But minimum should be about 4 or 5. If they need an extra paragraph to explain or to give supporting details, it's fine. Okay, but don't limit them. You must write 5 paragraphs. Don't go more. Don't limit them. They can write more if they wish to. Um, they can say I would recommend because yeah, sure, no problem. I think you should know. Yeah, the task requirement. Yeah, so you have to mark it down according to the scale. We will go through the scales. Don't worry about that. Okay, but they have to say what they enjoyed. Mm. Yeah, exactly, teacher BJC. Correct. Yeah, because if their argument is no, they have to actually convince us as the readers why they do not feel so. Okay, so if you have a continuum of students of really really good ones and the really weaker ones, so you have to find a way to bridge the gap. Maybe the good students, they don't need your scaffolding. They have watched a range of movies and they have the language. But the weaker ones, you should give them a template. Okay, like what is required, and then like how do you introduce your opinion and what you feel about the movie. Okay, the best reviews will be published in our newsletter. Okay, so the audience is given here. It's not to international audience. It is actually in a magazine, so it's a school magazine. So the language should be appropriate for the teenagers in the school, or also the teachers who will buy the newsletter. Okay, so those are the 3 examples that has been given by the Kementerian. And sorry, not 3, we have just finished 2, right? One was the review and another one was the article. Sorry. Okay, so this is the story, descriptive writing. Okay, your teacher has asked you to write a story for a school magazine. The story must have the title. Okay, here the title is given, but if you look at our textbooks, sometimes the first line will be given. Okay, begin your story as follows. So here I dare not comment. It could be the title, or they might come up with, okay, one beautiful Sunday morning, Lillian went to the store. Full stop. Okay, continue the story. That could happen as well. So do not limit your students to only a title. Okay, it could be a sentence, or it could be an ending. So write a story with the following ending. That might be a possibility as well, because if we look at the textbooks, we can see that pattern. Okay, so your story should include, here there are 2 bullet points. Encourage your students to use all the bullet points. Okay, So a description of the dream. So lots of adjectives, lots of adverbs. What was the dream about? How did you feel and everything? And sorry, dream comes through as in not okay. How the dream is achieved. Okay, here there were some students who actually wrote about dream as in like when you sleep and you wake up, that dream. But if you look closely, how the dream is achieved. So achieved here means like you put an effort, you stick to the goal, and you succeed in life, right? So if a student were to write a dream that they slept and then they woke up, you have to mark them down, because here a dream comes true is implying that a person had a specific goal and they worked towards that goal and it came true. Okay, so we had a discussion as well. So do not mark the whole script as karangan terpesong. No, you read the whole thing, but you have to mark them down on task fulfillment. Okay, because the notion of achieving is there. If you sleep and then you wake up, you don't achieve anything, right? It's just a dream. But so here the task fulfillment should be really closely looked upon. Okay, any question so far? Teacher Dor Fatiha has asked if the format is the same as previous one. If you look at the textbook, full blast and also download, each format of essay is actually followed. They follow the process-based writing. So, what do you write? How do you write it? The title and everything is given. So, I would suggest you to look at the textbook. We have to move away from our directed writing, our continuous writing. Okay. Any other question? Is writing the title a must? Yeah, for article, it is a must to write the title, because you need to grab the attention of the reader with a very suitable title. So if the article doesn't have a good title, probably you might not be interested to read it, right? So will students be penalized if you don't write the title? Penalized as in not bring down their marks, but when you look at it as a whole script, they didn't follow the communicative you should mark them down on CA, communicative achievement, because an article should be written by introducing the title first. So you will have to look at that. But I cannot say -5 marks or -2 marks. That I cannot say. You have to read the whole script first. Next, the students can write themselves as persona, right? They also can use the person's name. Mm, I think you are referring to the story. Yeah, this when it's descriptive writing, yes, they can absolutely use them as the main persona, or they can also use a person's name. Yeah, sure, no problem. A dream comes true. What if a student writes about a dream which later comes true? But teacher Izzat Shan, it defeats the whole purpose, right? The whole point of the essay is to actually see if the student can convince us by giving certain ways or certain methods that they would undertake to achieve a dream in their life. I don't know, maybe they have this dream of opening their own bakery someday. So, like, what steps would they take? But if they just sleep and then they get up and then it came true, but how would they achieve it? If they can convincingly write, if they have taken any steps to achieve the dream, then it's possible. Okay, teacher? I think paragraphing need to be considered. Emphasize on the yeah, definitely, teacher Hafiza. Paragraphing here, I would also emphasize on the coherence and also the cohesiveness. Each paragraph should make sense, and within a paragraph, each sentence should be connected as well. Yeah, so if they just give you a whole chunk and there isn't any sequence connectors, there's no flow of ideas, you have to mark them down on organization. Okay, must mark them down. Okay, any other questions? How about paragraphs? Okay, an ideal range of paragraphs could be anywhere between 4 or 5. But having said that, don't quote me out of context. Okay, having said that, do not actually limit the students by saying, okay, you should only write 5 paragraphs. Okay, that is like putting a bar to their advancements, right? So don't do that. they can go crazy, they can be creative, but the paragraphs should make sense. All the paragraphs should be connected to the TC statement or should be connected to the earlier ideas. Okay. But don't encourage them to write maybe 10 paragraphs. Okay. That is too long and they don't have enough time for that. Okay, so they should manage their time. They're only given an hour and 30 minutes, and they have to write three pieces of writing. Even as adults, sometimes we have writer's block. We have to sit down and really think, okay, apa yang aku nak tulis ni? Okay, then you sit down and then you have to really think. But they only have an hour and 30 minutes. So just train them. Once they get the exam paper, get a pencil, get a highlighter, where they can scribble, look at all the task fulfillment, ask them to underline or highlight or circle so they know what they are supposed to address in the essays. Okay? Is it not just about? Yes, definitely, Teacher Chong. Yeah. The quality. If they can convincingly argue the point, or they can write a story, or they can write an article or a review with very limited words, but it gets the message across, yes, why not? Okay. So do not tell them to write pages, because when they write few pages, tendency to make mistakes are greater. That's what I would say. Maybe we can put a limit to the minute. Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Anyway, between 4 or 5 is a good number. If they write for long, lengthy. Yes, Teacher Chong. Yes, definitely. Because all of us will be the markers at one point. So imagine reading an essay with horrendous writing, or the amount of mistakes you have to come across. Okay, give me a minute. Kajan, I need to use the charger. Oh, can't charger. Oh. Okay, give me 1 minute. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, can we move on? Sorry, Izul, I got carried away. Yeah, okay. The level of SPM writing test is pitched from B1 to B2, and the highest they can go in task 3 is C1. Okay, so C1 and above is more towards Form 6, like Muat standard and above. And part 1 is the lower end, so that is A2 slash B1 level. Part 2 is higher, and it's marked at B1 to B2. And part 3 is the highest. So the really good students, they should be aiming at B2 and C1. Next, the assessment scales used to rate candidates' performance are derived. Okay, yeah, this is self-explanatory. And the final one, I should highlight this because it is a can-do ethos. It's not of penalizing them. If they can write a paragraph convincingly, if they can answer all the task requirement, you give them the marks. Okay. So do not be a very cruel person and try to penalize them for each and every mistake. Just look at it holistically. And if the errors are repetitive, you can mark them down on language. Okay. If not, give them the benefit of the doubt. It could be a first draft slip if you look at a few samples later on. Okay, next, Izu. Okay, next. So here are the band descriptors. Okay, there are three different scales. So when you mark part one, you should only look at part one assessment scales, and for part two and part three as well. And they are actually in the writing assessment guideline, which will be given to you later. It's in a Google Drive. So you can just like follow that. I think it's on page 18 onwards. Sorry, page 19, 21, and 23. Next, they all assess three writing skills: communicative achievement, organization and language, and the overall task fulfillment in content. Okay, we'll go through this later. And you have to remember that the content mark is actually same, no, not mark, the content descriptor is actually same across all the levels. I'll show you an example later on. Only the others will differ, but the content, if you look at band 3, for example, for mark 3, for part 1 and part 2 and part 3 is literally the same. So content doesn't differ as much comparing to the others because they are pitched at different levels of achievement. Next, Izo. Okay, I'll show you an extract. Okay, we can skip this, Izo. Okay, so this is the scale of the band 3, actually score 3, but part 1, part 2, and part 3. If you look at the far left, content is the same thing. Target reader is on the whole informed, on the whole informed, on the whole informed, and minor irrelevances and or omissions may be present in the essay. It's the same. So content doesn't differ. But if you look at the others, CA, O, and L, firstly, it is simple ways, and then it moves on to straightforward ideas using the conventions. And for part three, there is the notion of reader's attention. So they have to be able to sustain our interest in the article that they are writing or the story that they are writing. Okay? And organization as well. For part one, it is just basic high frequency connectors. But part two, there are cohesive devices. So you cannot just use the fanboys and but, so, because, and all that. So here, cohesive devices must be introduced. So if there are a couple and they are used effectively, you can give them three, or if they are really good at using and connecting the ideas between paragraphs and sentences, you can give them 4, 5. And for part three, there should be a variety of cohesive devices, and bear in mind that they should be well organized and I think I missed a word here. Okay, well organized, coherent, and a variety of cohesive devices. So that's not just limited to one type. If it's in addition, all throughout they say they use in addition, in addition, in addition, doesn't really appeal to you as a reader, right? So they have to use a variety of those. Language also differs. That's why when you mark the papers, you have to use the different scale. It is no one size fits all. If you're marking 3 different essays, you have to take and keep the descriptors in front of you. So each essay should be marked with the bands next to you. Okay, for part one, basic vocab, good enough. You can get a 3. But if you go to part two, there is, give me a minute, okay, a good degree of control. It is different from the previous one, some degree of control. So they have to be better users of the language to achieve at least a 3 in part 2. Part 3, even higher. So they have to use some complex grammatical forms with good degree of control. So not just simple ideas and simple sentences. Okay, if they are using the same type of writing as part 2 in part 3, they might just score a 1 or a 2. Okay, not necessarily a 3. Okay, any questions? I can see a few questions. If student gets 0 for the content, what would happen to C, A, O, and L? Okay, when you say 0 for content, right? Memorization, as in, okay, it doesn't have any relevance to the question, is it? Because usually they have to see the question and they have to answer according to the question, right? Or are you saying like the continuous essay style, they just memorize any story and then they vomit out in the exam, is it? Previously in PT3, yeah, if the content is totally irrelevant, we would give them a 0 and a 0 and a 0. But for SPM, the JU didn't actually say that we are supposed to give a 0 for all if the content is totally irrelevant. If it's memorized and the organization is really good, but the content isn't there, mm, I would need to see an example. I cannot imagine. Okay, so if you have examples, you can just like text me or WhatsApp me or Telegram me, then we can maybe go through it together. Okay, but if for now memorize script, yeah, because if it has no relevance, then obviously content will be 0. But the others I have to see. But for PT3, yes, if they are using the same generic principle, then it would be the same. But can all these documents attach one? Yeah, yeah, teacher Azno, Izul will share the link later. I think Izul, can you share it now so that they can go to the Google Drive and they can download? Because in a while we'll be looking at the dummy scripts that will be under booklet, and the other one is guidelines for examiner, writing examiner, I think. Okay, so don't worry. Teacher Saripa Farida, why are you blur? Anything that we can help you with? Yes, thank you, Izul. Yeah, that's the one. So that's gg.gg. So if you go there, there are 2 documents. two PDF documents. One is instructions for writing examiners. It should look something like this. And the other one, it contains all the dummy scripts. So it should be something like this. Okay. So throughout today's session, we will be using these two documents. The writing is blurry. Okay, okay, don't worry about this. Don't worry about this. Okay, so before we actually go through the uh, descriptors, I have a question for you. Um, yeah, it is blurry now. Even I can't see it. Okay, can you tell me? Oh, yes, thank you, Izul. Okay, can you tell me the 4 subscales for writing assessment? Can you type in the chat box? We have been talking about 4 subscales, right? So, what are the subscales? Do you remember? Content, yes, teacher. Hey, hi, Kak Shama. How are you? Yes, content, definitely. Yeah. After content, what are the other subscales that you should be marking against the scripts? Yes, correct, CA. Communicative assessment or communicative achievements. Hi, Dayal Dana, how are you? Yes, CA, correct. Yes, thank you, teacher Farid. Yeah, organization and language. Yes, well done. So these are the 4. So we are moving away from F, C, and L. So no more format, no more content, no more language. Okay. So this is like your new descriptor. Okay. And what 3 main aspects of writing does the language subscale focus on? Anybody want to take a guess? So this is language. Okay. Forget about content or CA. Language subscale should focus on these 3. Yes, teacher Azia, well done. Communicative achievement, content language. Yeah, correct. But content should come first. Okay. We look at the content, then we move on to CA. No takers? Okay, fine, I'll tell you. The 3 main aspects should cover lexical, grammatical aspects of writing, and also accuracy. So when you look for language, you have to see the words. Lexical means like words, right? Are the words really apt to the text? And the grammatical aspects, whether it agrees with the subject and verb and whatnot, and accuracy, like do they minimize the errors? And number 3, what do you understand by the term overlength? Yes, correct, teacher Lee Yan. Well done. Thank you very much. Okay, so what do you understand by the term overlength? What is overlength? If you go through the writer's guideline, they will explain it to you in detail. But let's just discuss about that before we go into the dummy scripts. Oh, it's nice to see people saying hi to each other here. Hi, Lutfi. Okay, I'll say hi to Lutfi as well. Okay, so overlength. Any takers? What's overlength? Teacher Norita, yeah, exceeding the number of words. Yes, correct. So underlength and overlength is not a criterion in the marking scheme. Okay, maybe previously you have to, yes, correct, teacher Zarina, longer than the word limit. Yeah, if the students are writing over than the required word limit, the score should not necessarily be affected. Okay, but it may have an effect on the target reader, because if it's going on and it doesn't hold the reader's attention, then you can mark down in the other subscale as well. Okay, but generally don't look at the length and be overwhelmed. Oh my god, look at this. Okay, so just read the whole script and then you decide. Yes, teacher Shirley, yes, well done. If you exceed, but that's not a criterion. Okay, so don't look at that, and you don't necessarily have to count each word when we went for the JU meeting. But bear in mind, this could be changing in the near future. So there might be a massive meeting with all the ketua pemeriksa and all the BIOL might be getting the first hand information. But as of now, you don't actually have to have to tell your students to count every word and write down, okay, berapa patah perkataan, how many words. No, you don't have to do that. You mark as it is and you look at the task fulfillment. If it fulfills, organized well, the language used is relevant and appropriate to the context, you can award them marks. Okay. Next, Izul. You can go to next. Okay, under which two subscales would you consider spelling and punctuation? So let's say a student has been making lots of spelling errors, horrendous punctuation. So which subscale would you mark them down? Any guesses? There are 4 subscale, right? So which 2 subscale would you put spelling and punctuation? Yes, Sir Dayalan, well done. Yeah, language you should definitely mark down if it's horrendous spelling and punctuation. Another one? Language, yes, definitely. Teacher Norita, well done. Yes, correct. Yes, Teacher Zarina, well done. Yeah, so it's language and organization. So if they have answered, yes, thank you, Teacher, well done. If they answer according to the question, so content is there relevant, so you do not penalize them in content. Okay, you give them the mark that they deserve for content. Okay, so language and organization should encompass spelling and punctuation. Next, which subscale is the same for all CEFR levels? Okay, I think I've said this before. So any takers? That means it doesn't differ according to the marks. If it's band 3, it's the same. Organization, okay. Yes, teacher Liwayan, you are on point. Yeah. Content is the same for all the levels. Okay. Yes, well done. And the difference between simple connectors and cohesive devices. Yes, teacher Ruby, yes. Content. Content is the same. Okay, when you are giving marks for organization, right? So you will look at the connectors and cohesive devices. So any examples or what are the difference between simple and the simple connectors and cohesive devices? Or you can just give me examples. What are simple connectors? Yes, teacher Sean, correct. Content as I mentioned, yeah, correct. Nobody, simple connectors. Okay, I'll tell you. So like and, or, but, so, because, all those. Yeah, yes. Thank you, teacher Jenny Lee. Okay, so if they are giving simple, you cannot give them a, for part 2, for example, you cannot give them a 5 because it's just simple. They need to use cohesive device. Yes, fanboys. Well done, Mimi. Okay, so cohesive devices are more sophisticated linking words like in conclusion, however, moreover, subsequently, furthermore, as a result, and all that. Yes, thank you, Izahanim. Yeah, however, therefore, yes. So your students should be exposed to both. Okay, if they cannot give cohesive devices for part 2 and part 3, their organization will be brought down. So their subscale will be marked down. Okay, what is the primary focus for the communicative achievement subscale? So CA. Yes, teacher Najwa. Okay, linkers, yeah, correct. Okay, CA is literally if they answer the question or not. For example, the conventions of the communicative task. Will this available for missing this session? Yeah, it's recorded, right? So Izul will put it up. Don't worry. Okay, so if they have successfully put out the message and it is communicated well and using the correct conventions, they have scored a higher band in CA. Yeah, correct. Ideas must be communicated. Yeah, delivered. Yes, correct. Okay. A simple idea, okay, simple idea means there's nothing complex. For example, I like pop music, so that's very simple. So if they are going to write only simple ideas, they might not be scoring a higher band. Okay, next. Yes, task fulfillment, correct, teacher Zakia. Well done. So I think we can move on to the next one. Mm, mm, mm. Izul? Yeah, okay. Cohesive devices we've done. Okay, good paragraphing. Which subscale does it fall under? Question number 10. Because earlier we talked about spelling and punctuation. What about good paragraphing? Is it C, CA, O, or L? Crick, crick. Okay, no mind. Yay, yes. Organization. Okay. It should fall under organization. So just because they don't have good paragraphing, you cannot mark down on their content or communicative achievement. Okay, use the correct descriptors and the subscale to bring down. Yes, correct. Well done. Thank you, teachers. Yeah, it's organization. So you bring down the subscales accordingly. Okay, not penalize them in each and every subscale. Okay, you are actually looking at what they can do. It's a very positive marking. Okay, now, what is error? Okay, I will discuss this because I think we are approaching almost 1 hour mark and we have dummy scripts. Okay, an error can be defined as a mistake which occurs repeatedly. Okay, I mentioned repeatedly because sometimes it could be just a first draft slip. Okay, so give them the benefit of the doubt. But if the same, okay, let's say it's a tense. Okay, the tense is wrong in different occurrence in different paragraphs, then it's considered an error. But if it's not repeated, it's just like one single case, a very sporadic one part mistake, you do not actually penalize them. Okay, so you don't bring down the language marks. Last one, assessment scales refer to things being done appropriately. Okay, appropriately means not general, okay. Appropriately means what fits the context. So in a manner which suits the context. If the context is asking about a holiday, and suddenly they talk about a hobby that they have, that's like totally not relevant, right? Okay, so appropriately means whatever suits the context. Okay, so it's not in general or which is the most. Okay, yeah, it's actually not general. That is what I would like to highlight. So it's context based. Okay, assessment scale. Okay, I've said this earlier. Task 1, 2, and 3, they are of different levels. Okay, next is it? Okay, so as we have briefly mentioned earlier, there are like four, right? Content, communicative achievement, language, and organization. Okay, I'll go through what each means. Okay, Izul, can you go to the other? Yeah. Hello. Yes, teacher KH Chong versus YN. Yeah, versus YN with the context. If you have already downloaded, okay. So here I have done a summary. Okay, Izul, if you go to the first one, I think it starts off with content, what to look for in content. Yes, teacher Sharmila, the video will be available in Izul's channel. He will put it there, don't worry. Izul, I cannot see the slides, Izul. Yes, now I can. Okay, if you can put it in the presentation mode. Okay, I would like you to look at the words that I have underlined and bold and also like changed colors. So content is actually how fully you answer the question. If the question requires you to talk about a holiday, who did you go with, and what activities did you do? So there are three things: the location that you went for a holiday, who did you go, and what did you do. So all three must be answered. If you do not you sorry, if the students do not answer fully, you bring down their marks. Okay, so if they do talk about all those requirements, you get maximum 5. So if they don't answer one part, there are irrelevances, right? Or there might be omission. You have to give them a 3 or a 4. Okay, and if they only answer a small part, you give them a 1 or a 2. Probably 2 points is missing. They only talk about holiday location. So if they answer all or they answer in a different language, you give them a 0. Pokon. How fully they answer the question. Okay, Izul, next one. I think it should say communicative achievement. Izul, I cannot see the slide again. Izul? Oh, okay, yeah, I can see the slide now. Okay. Okay, so communicative achievement has three different things. Okay. So first, it is if it is the right text type. For example, if it's article, it should follow the convention of article. Okay. And how intelligent are your ideas? Here, it looks at the maturity of the ideas that they put forth. They are not in UPSR level. Okay. They have finished UPSR. They have finished, sorry, they won't be UPSR anymore, right? So they finished PD3. So they're now sitting for SPM. So there should be a level of maturity in their ideas. Okay. So that is also under communicative achievement. And finally, if they are able to hold the reader's attention. Okay, if the ideas are explained clearly, very well written, supporting details, examples, you can give them a 5. Okay, so if the three things are achieved, correct text type, together with simple ideas, you give them a 3. Together with simple ideas, you give them a 5. Okay. If the text is correct, but ideas are clearly and explained, and only simple ideas, you give them a 3. So that's how you see. So 1, 3, and 5 is given in the descriptors. So 2 and 4, you actually use your own judgment. Okay, does it fall under lower or higher band? So that's up to you. And the conclusion is CA is a mix of all these three things. So the formality also, you have to look at it, and if the ideas are explained clearly and intelligently, convincingly, so that's all under CA. So CA, you don't look at language or the spelling or punctuation. No, you just look at the task. Okay, next, Isu. Okay, organization. Okay, organization is how the text is put together. So you should look at cohesiveness and coherence. Also, 5 points or so. So each is 5 points, and 5 times 4 is 20 marks, right? So when you use this subscale, you have to see if is it organized or not. If it's generally well organized, or it is actually well organized. You have to look at each paragraph as well as the sentences in each paragraph. And if the linking words are used appropriately and cohesive devices are used in a variety, then you can give them higher marks, as opposed to maybe one, but they repeatedly use the same thing. Okay, but sometimes they might use a cohesive device, but it could be inappropriate. They might be summing up, but they would say in addition. But summing up is more to like having said that, or in conclusion, or in a nutshell, or something like that, right? So if it's not appropriate, you have to mark them down, because it shows that they are not a good user of the language. They do not know how to use the devices appropriately. So you have to mark them down in organization, not on content or CA. Okay, finally, it's on language. Okay, Izul, we can go to the other one. So here the grammar is absolutely accurate, and there are high level words and complex grammatical forms. You can award a 5 for the student. And if they use only limited vocab, like everyday vocab, some simple and complex grammatical forms, you can give them a 3. But there is no attempt at any complex grammatical forms, just purely simple grammar and not many mistakes, you can get a 1, especially for part 3. Okay, so that's like high level, right? But if the mistakes and if the mistakes in the grammar and vocab is so bad and the reader cannot understand, then you have to give them a 0. Okay, if you find yourself questioning the same sentence again and again and you have to put a slash, it means that the meaning doesn't come through. So it shows that that student has not achieved a good band for language. So you penalize them there. Okay. So any questions of the descriptors so far? Okay. So I think that is all for the C, CA, O, and L. So now we will be looking at the main slide. And if you have that, the first one, it should say hi Amy. Okay, no, we can skip this. I think we've covered this. Okay. Okay, fully informed here means to get a 5, they are aware of all the requirements. So to get a 5, they must be fully informed. Relevant means it is suitable to the context. Omission here means if there are certain points or certain bullet points that they have been given in the question, but they fail to talk about it, you have to penalize them. Okay, so it's not fully informed, there are omissions, right? So you have to take note on that. Next. Okay, so simple and cohesive devices, we have looked at it. But one might ask, how many 3, okay, somewhere between 3, 4, and 5. But you have to teach them to use the connectors or cohesive devices correctly. Just by using them, but if you look at it, if it doesn't make sense, they don't get the marks anyway. So you have to teach them the forms and the functions, like why is it important to connect two ideas together. Okay, so if they are used correctly, and it delivers the idea, you can actually give them the higher band. Okay, so basic vocab here means nothing high end, everyday basic vocab that they have been learning from Form 1, Form 2 up until now. Okay, next. Okay, so we are going to look at the scripts. The first part is the email. Okay, so I have not written, sorry, I have highlighted the words in red to show that they are the task fulfillment. Okay, where shall we go during the school holiday and what can we do there? So the idea of activities should be given and what should we bring. And bear in mind that this is not actually a holiday, although it is a school holiday, but they are not going for a picnic. So if it's picnic, you must bring something to bring. So if it's picnic, you must bring must tell your students that the idea of picnic basket, they go out, they have some fun together, should be there. Or by the seaside, that's fine. But the idea of picnic should be there. If the student only wrote about, have to mark them down. Okay. So I would suggest you to look at the module for setting the standard. It is in the module that the uh, in the Google Drive that Izul has sent. Okay, but I've also given you. Okay, so hi Amy, I am so glad that you have brought this up as I had nothing planned for the holidays. Okay, so there's no error there. I'm totally excited and I know just the place for our picnic. So they are introducing the place here. It will be at Central Park, just beside East Road. Okay, so location is there. So you know that the first task has been fulfilled. Okay, one out of the three. We could also play volleyball or whatnot, but the idea is that don't forget to bring an extra mat. Mat here is an error, okay? MAT, but it's actually MATT. There were no conventions given to us, but I would suggest you to use a squiggly line. Okay, we are doing a sound check, so bear with me. Okay, so if it's an error, you use a wavy line. Okay, and if it's a gross error, you put a line. Okay, but here it's just a spelling mistake, a very minor error. You just put a wavy line. So extra mat to place our food. Okay, again, foods. Okay, thanks, Kak. Okay, foods, it's an error. Okay, food is sufficient, right? Okay. So the idea of what item I lost mine. Error. Okay, don't worry about the snacks. Idea of bringing things to the picnic. If you would like to, TOO error. So you put a wavy line. The more, the better. Okay, here I think they just used it as a phrase, but it's not really needed there anyway. I was also thinking that we could have Jack and David come. So they are inviting other friends. It will be more fun with them around. All right, do update me if something comes up. Bye. Sound is breaking. Sound is not clear. Is it better now? Because I have removed the wire. Okay, so by looking at this, can you tell me what content is the content relevant and is the target reader informed fully about the picnic? No, not clear. Good God. How about now? Okay, so what mark would you award the student for content? Let's look at content first. Still not clear. Kak Jun.
Mic kat sini
Yes. Just right, just
Tapi dia dah lama kan.
Okay, hello. Is this better? Okay, yeah. Content should be given a 5 because the content is very relevant to the task and the student is fully informed. And what about communicative achievement? Yes, very good. Hey, Kak Yati. Hello, Kak Intan. Yeah, content should be 5. What about CA, communicative achievement? Do you think the text is very straightforward? And did they use the correct register and look at the formality as well. All right, okay, thank you. Okay. Do you think we can give a 5? There are very good phrases as well, right? It will be at Central Park. I know just the place for our picnic. I would agree, so it should be 5. And organization. There are cohesive devices and they are used appropriately. Okay. Though you could bring some snacks. All right, do update me. So the lembaga peperiksaan actually gave 5 for organization as well. So content was 5, communicative achievement was 5, organization is also 5 because the cohesive devices were used appropriately. And language, is the vocab suitable? Is it relevant to the theme of holiday, picnic? Okay, teacher Nurshaliza, you gave organization 4. Okay, but if it's a plus minus 1 or 2, it's fine. But the lembaga gave it a 5 because it's part 1. Maybe if it's part 2, you may be penalizing a bit. So 5. What about language? Was there a good degree of control of using the simple grammatical forms? Yes, teacher asking that. Yeah, teacher Shirley also. Yes, comments are also given over there. Okay, so this is the marks prescribed by the Lembaga Peperiksaan. So this is a very good script, 20 out of 20. So if you think your students are writing at this level, do not penalize them and give them maybe 3 or a 4. If they deserve this and they are doing a good job by organizing them, organizing the ideas and the language is good, you can give them 20 out of 20. For part 1. But if they were to follow the same style of writing for part 2, then you have to bring them down. Okay, because part 2 is a slightly higher level. Okay, let's go to the next dummy script. Maybe I'm not too generous. Yes, teacher Shaliza, all of us are relevance and there is communicative achievement, so you can give them. Okay, next, hi, error. I've been received your email. Error, okay? I have received your email. So error, you just put a straight line, underline. Me also waiting to this school holiday. Okay, I am also waiting. So me, error, to the school holiday, error, for the school holiday. Okay, because I would to join, okay? Again, to join, error. Okay, so you can clearly see that this student should be marked down for their language as well. Next, to go picnic at Sungai Gabay Waterfall. 1 out of 3 you can give them because the location is there, Sungai Gabay. Next, I think there can be a perfect place. I think it can be a perfect place for us because they have a beautiful nature. It is surrounded by beautiful nature. Okay, errors there, just underline. And fresh environment. Okay, Sungai Gabay Waterfall, omission. So you put a omission sign there. Is also suitable for our picnic because at there, error, because we can have a barbecue there. Okay, error, and also you put the zigzag because it's transpose, it should be inverted. And I'm so excited for that. You should bring during the next part and radio for us enjoyed error to enjoy the moment, I think. Okay, but the idea of bringing a radio and a snack is there. So task fulfillment, it's already over there. Next, it must will be a great memories for us. Okay, error, it will be a good, we will have a good time, or it will be a great memory for us to treasure or something like that. So you just underline, see you soon. Okay, but here errors may impede meaning when you read. Okay. Let's go to content. Do you think the student has answered all the question? Where the picnic will take place, what they can do there. I think the idea of barbecue and what to bring, radio and all. Very good, teacher Nazahia Shamsuddin. Okay, so the Lembaga Peperiksaan awarded a 5. Although the language is a bit haywire, language was 5. Next, CA. The text communicates simple ideas and it uses informal tone and register, yes. But do you think 5 can be given for CA? Bear in mind that you have to, all right, good. C is 5, yeah. What about CA? The Lembaga did not give a 5, okay? So they brought down 1 mark. So the CA was 4 because it wasn't that excellent, okay? Comparing to the first one, okay? CA was 4. Okay, let's go a bit further. For organization, there are basic high frequency connectors, but the cohesive devices, I don't think there were that many. Okay, so you cannot definitely give a 5. So you should bring it down. But organization, okay, wait, let me see. Yes, CA4, yes, correct. Yes, teachers, okay. So organization, the Lembaga Peperiksaan is suggesting a 3. Okay, basic high frequency, yes, but a variety of cohesive devices, no. Okay, so O was 3. Next, language. Beautiful nature, fresh environment, barbecue, snack are used. So that those are basic vocab. And but there are a number of errors. If you look at the subject, for us enjoyed the moments. So because of those glaring errors, the language was 3. Izul, can you go to the next slide? Module. It should say writing module. Izul, if you can go. Yes, thank you. So it was 5, 4, 3, and 3. So the total was only 15. 15 out of 20 for part 1. So if you think your students have this type of writing, especially language, right? So you train them to write grammatically accurate sentences. Okay, teacher Dorothy, okay, you were spot on, except for 1, I think, 5, 4, 3, and 3. Okay, but plus minus 1 or 2 is fine. Okay, as long as you can get the subscales correct, you should be fine. Okay, so the next one is on the next slide. We will finish as many as we can. If we can't, you can just do it at your own time. Okay, this one says, 1 week ago, I received an email from you about plan to have picnic with our friends in error during school holiday. I very excited on mission with your invited error. We can do a lot of things in those error, like barbecue, fishing, and anymore. Okay, error. Okay, I don't know what that. Okay, I think it's a thing. Okay, we should bring a thing for cooking. Maybe they're talking about cooking supplies and cooking utensils. Okay, clothes and some of interesting thing for us play together. Error, like chess. But the idea is that what to bring has been mentioned. We should tell our parents for them to decide. Okay, error. We can go on if we can go on our mission. Thank you for your invited error. I should be capital, so error. Hope we can have a best picnic later. Okay, we can have a good picnic, error. Okay, so if you look at the content, it is relevant, on the whole informed. Okay, but there is an omission. If you look closely, the place was not mentioned. Previously, we know for a fact they want to go to Sungai Gabai waterfall. But in this email, the activity is given there. But the pair have a question by teacher Nur Hidayatul. If there is no subject, then won't loss. No, you don't have to penalize them. But you encourage the students to write down the theme. Is it a picnic or is it a holiday? But just because the subject is left blank, you don't minus any marks. No. Okay. So content, what do you think? Can you give a 5? Definitely not a 5, right? No, teacher Zurina, you are too generous now. No, no, no. I small letter. Yes, teacher Strong, correct. I should be in the capital letter. It's a special pronoun. Yeah. So you have to underline that. Yes, spot on, teacher Shirley, teacher Farah. No, teacher Farah, no 1 point missing. Teacher Rohani, yes. The Lembaga gave a 3 because there is an omission. No details about where to go for the picnic. And it's also very vague. It's like they're beating around the bush. So 4 is also a bit communicated simple ideas with the closing salutations was in very friendly tone. So organization, okay. There are basic and high frequency connectors within the sentences. For example, we can do a lot of things there like, okay, our clothes and some of interesting thing for we play. Okay, so the idea is there, but it's not well written. You cannot give a 5. Okay, 5 and 4 definite no. So organization was 3. Yes, some teachers have got it spot on. Yes, teacher Zarina, well done. Okay, and the language as well. 4 or 5 is too high because the errors with the verb tenses. Izul, you can go to the next slide, or you can also refer to the module. If you look at the last section, language, excited, barbecue, interesting is relevant, okay, but we should tell our parents for her decide we can go or not. So that is like huge glaring error. And they do have picnic, so they don't know how to. So this candidate got a 13 out of 20. So 3, 4, 3, 3. So if you can see, comparing the previous one, the Sungai Gabai waterfall, this is a bit lower level. Okay, so Izul, we can go to the next one. Okay, the next one. Okay, so if you turn over to page, this is in module 4, so you have to go right at the back. It should say, sorry, just now couldn't hear you well. Oh, okay. Sorry. The content was 3, CA was 4, organization was 3, language was 3. Okay, so the total was only 13. 3, 4, 3, 3. 13 out of 20 only. Okay, only CA was 4, the others are all 3. Okay, so this is another one. Hi, Amy, the best idea of place. Remove. Try. Hello. Now, is it better or is it still breaking? Okay, we'll try this for a while until I have another solution. Okay, so this should say the best place to go for a picnic would be at the beach. Okay, the idea of place is there. Task fulfillment 1 done. It is very hot. It is very hot, but windy at the same time. So don't forget to bring a hat and sunscreen. Okay, so the idea of items to bring is there. So number 2 is there. So number 2 is correct. Number 2, done. Other than having a picnic, we can go swimming. So that is the idea of activity to be done. Okay. We can also take a lot of pictures. Activity. Beautifully written, so there isn't much glaring error. Lastly, we should bring a carpet or something for us to sit on the sand. Okay, maybe they wanted to say a mat, a picnic mat, but they said carpet. But it's okay, it could be a first draft slip. We should also bring food and drinks for the picnic. Okay, idea of what items to be brought. I'll bring chicken sandwich. That's all we need to do. See you soon. Okay, so content. Can you give 5? Is it relevant? Is the target reader fully informed? Okay, the number gave a 5, okay, so that was 5. And communicative achievement, it is communicating straightforward ideas. Okay, the best place to go for a picnic is would be the beach. That's all we need to do. So CA was also 5. Okay, this was a well-written script. Organization, other than having lastly. Okay, yes, well done, teachers. C was 5. CA was also 5. Organization was also 5 because it was written very aptly. Language, basic vocab has been used. Picnic, beach, swimming, amazing, sand. So the Lembaga Peperiksaan gave a 5 as well. So this is another good sample script. When you discuss with your students, you can look at this as well. Okay, so is that okay, teachers? Do you agree, or is it too much? Teacher Chong is a bit surprised. Wow. Yeah, so it's 20 out of 20. Okay, we'll go to another script if we have time. Okay, so that was 20 out of 20. So if you want to write in your books, Teacher Veerasingham says feels like too much, but for part 1, you can award a 20 out of 20 if the content is relevant, straightforward ideas are given, connectors are used, basic vocab is used appropriately. Okay? Only for part 1. If you're doing the same thing for part 2, Part 2 you have to bring down according to their for part 3. So don't worry. Yeah, only for part 1, sir. Next, this one should say, let's go for a picnic next Sunday. Why? We're only doing part 1 today. Okay, so today is only part 1, okay? So don't be worried if we don't cover. So there will be another series, okay, for part 2 and part 3. Okay, I have a question. Straightforward can gain full marks. Yeah, if it's very straightforward, answering all the questions, you can give them full marks. What about students give idioms? If students give idioms and they are appropriate to the context, yes, it's a merit for them. But a student who does not write idiom should not be penalized. Okay, so it is not a criterion in marking your students' essays. Sorry, your voice is breaking frequently. Oh dear. Okay. Next week is our school holiday for a picnic. I think we can call or mission our other friends to join us for a picnic. But we need to bring the important stuff. Okay, stuff is error. It should be things or stuff. Okay, like carpet. Okay, I think carpet again, not so suitable. It should be mat. Okay, food and drinks. Okay, drinks should be in the plural form. First, we need to buy the stuff. Okay, again, stuff. It's an error because it's repetitively used, right? And separate the stuff
Then each person takes some stuff that we need. Okay, no, I think things, bring along items or things. That's all for my opinion. I'll be waiting for your reply. Again, this is nothing to do with opinion. You are writing an informal message. So the word opinion here is inappropriate. Okay, so when you ask your students to do emails, ask them not to use words like opinion or suggestions. If the question, because you're talking about picnic and what items to bring, if you want to introduce an argument or you are debating a point, okay, but for informal writing, if that isn't necessary for that, no need to use words like opinion in informal writing. Yeah, I would agree. Part one gives opportunity for weak students. Yes, part one is more generic, where the weaker ones can also equally do well because they have been learning emails, I think, from Form 1, if I'm not mistaken. I have been teaching Form 3. So in Form 3 also we introduce emails. Form 4 also we have emails. And in Form 5 it is like carried on. Okay, so part 1, it should not be a problem. Everybody should be able to score. Okay, so let's look at the marks. The Lembaga Peperiksaan gave a 4 for content. Okay, because it's relevant to the task, but they are partially informed because they omitted what can be done. Okay, during the picnic. Activity was not given. They only said Portixon and what stuff to bring. Okay, so you cannot give a 5. If they were to mention the activity, then you can give them a 5. Okay, so if they mention, okay, we can sing songs, we can have barbecue, okay, you can give 5, but it's 4. Yes, teacher Chong, stuff as star of 4 times, it's an error. Yeah, so you have to bring down on your language. Next, communicative achievement. The Lembaga gave a 3 because the format and tone is appropriate, but sometimes it's a bit hanging. Okay, first we need to buy the stuff, but you don't actually have to talk about that. You can just say we can bring items like, okay, first, second, third. But again, notion of buying, again, unnecessary. Next, organization. There were things like but, first, then. So it is only basic high frequency linking. So it was 3. So content is 4. Communicative achievement was 3. Organization was also 3. Okay, not good enough for 5 yet. Next, okay, and it's repeated. And subject verb agreement as well. Each person takes, so you cannot give a 5. So language, the Lembaga was generous. They gave a 4. So it was 4, 3, 3, and 4. The total was 14. Will there be similar trainings for part 2 and part 3 later? Yeah, of course. There will be a series. So I'll discuss with my panel in Kulai and we will do, because we don't want to do all of it in one session and it might be too much. So maybe one part at a time. Next, we didn't penalize the unsuitable as long as the meaning. Yeah, correct. Yes, teacher. Hi, Kak Mas. Yes, Kak. Betul. For part 1, yeah. But if, yes, teacher Shalini, language was 4. Okay, I would have given a 3. Can we go to the next one? I think we have a few and then I need time for question and answer as well. Okay, Amy, I'm planning, got a picnic at Taman Botani. Okay, botanical garden here is the place. Okay, Taman Botani is a nice place for us. We can bring some bread to feed the fish. Okay, idea of what to bring is there. So don't penalize the student. We can sit under the tree and chat about ourselves. So chatting about ourselves is an activity during the picnic. I think we just need to bring some money, some food, some drinks. Drink, again, error. And the most important is the picnics map. I think the student means like the botanical garden outline or the map inside the botanical garden. Okay, so that's fine, picnic map. Or they could have meant picnic mat, like for them to sit down. So, but the meaning is there, so you don't penalize. And I will bring a small radio to play some music while we are eating food. That's all. So content, the lembaga peperiksaan gave a 5 because it's relevant and the reader is fully informed. Place is there, botanical garden. But when you ask your students to write, try to encourage them to write the English version. For example, if it's taman buaya, right? So it should be like crocodile farm, or things like that. Don't say taman botani, could be like a botanical garden. Or P was 5. Very good, teacher Lee Wayan, teacher Rosima, teacher Shirley. Yes. Communicate, because it's very informal, very friendly, straightforward, a positive tone, and ideas are well communicated. So 5 and 5. Organization. The text is connected, but there's a logical sequence, but very few connectors are used. If you look at it, a picnic at Taman Botani. Taman Botani is a nice place. I think we just need to bring. So if they were to use more cohesive devices, they would have gotten a higher mark, because here the organization was only 3. Although minimal errors, organization was only 3. Yes, teacher Rosima, you are on the right track. 3. Next, language. Basic vocab related to picnic. Yeah, feed the fish, chat, money, food, drink, radio, map, and all that. I am planning, while we are eating, so there are some grammatical mistakes as well. I am planning got. Okay, that is an error, right? Errors are minimal, so the language was 4. The total was 17. Teacher Zurina, you can give content higher a bit. Okay, so that is a 17. So if your students are writing at this level, you could perhaps teach them more cohesive devices to be more coherent. Yeah, language you can give 4. 3 is too little. Teacher Lee Wayan, you can be a bit more generous. Okay, so Aizul, we can go to the next one. I think it's the final one before we take any questions. Okay, hi, I received your email last week. Okay, no error. That a good idea to go for a picnic. Error, it should be, it's a good idea. We plan to go Port Dickson. Again, error. It should be like we should go to Port Dickson, or our plan to go to Port Dickson could be a good idea. Okay, something like that. But Port Dickson, you have to take in consideration. Place is there. We should bring our belongings. Error. So you put a wavy line, such as food, basket, and so on. We will be doing some activities there. Again, but what activities? The student didn't mention the activities. Invite more friends to join these activities. Yeah, again, but what is the activity? Get a good mark. Okay, this will be fun if you guys come along, person. But suddenly the idea of you guys come along. Okay, so some discrepancies over there. I can't wait until that day. Again, until maybe it should be I'm waiting for that day. Okay, should be appropriate. We can enjoy our moment at the beach. Okay. The beach should be at the beginning actually. So they should say we should or we can go to the beach at Port Dickson. Okay. I hope I can heard for your reply. Heard, error. I hope to hear from you should be better. Okay. So C, content, you cannot give a 5. Okay. So the lembaga peperiksaan gave it a 4. Content is relevant, target is on the whole informed, but the activities are not mentioned. Okay. Teacher Nur Hidayatul Fitra, you are absolutely correct. No activity mentioned, but you can give a 4. Okay. 3 is a bit too low for them. Next, communicative achievement. Simple ideas, a simple ways about picnic is given. I received your email last week. This will be fun. I can't wait. So CA was, any ideas? Sorry. Okay. Content was 4. CA, yes. Teacher Jenny Lee, you are right. LPM gave it a 3. Okay. And organization, but you can draw the comparison between the previous text. If you look at the earlier ones, almost 3. Organization, there are very little linking between sentences. That's a good idea. Wrong. B, doing some activities there. Again, activities was not mentioned. So organization was only 3. Okay. 4, 3, and 3 so far. Okay. Basic vocab is used reasonably appropriately. Okay, like belongings and basket and fun and guys and beach. So language, there isn't any complex form, so you cannot give high. And even the errors are quite apparent, right? I hope I can heard for your reply. Okay, so you cannot give more than 4. 4, 5, definitely no. Okay, content was 4, communicative achievement was 3, organization was also 3, language also 3. So the total was only 13. Kak Mas, your content absolutely correct. CA, you cannot be so generous, Kak Mas. Turunkan sikit. So the lembaga gave 3. So 4, 3, 3, 3. The total was 13. 13 out of 20. So if your students are in this level, so you teach them how to be more organized using high frequency connectors, using appropriate vocab. Okay, so any questions so far? I hope you guys are aware. And the summary for today's session or today's takeaway is that you must understand the format. Okay, so there are 3 pieces of writing. We have covered number 1 today. So it has to be a simple, informal writing activity. And the level it is pitched at. So do not be too strict with the marking for part 1. Okay, part 1, you are trying to give them the ideas successfully. There are linking words, there are also sequence connectors, language, and you should be aware of the different task types. If it's an email, you try and put away all your article, your review, your story behind. Only focus on part 1. Okay. Next, you should be confident in how to use the assessment scales. Okay, so the assessment scales will be your new reference. So that will be your new Bible, new Quran, new reference book. Okay, so that will be with you whenever you mark. Even when you give them assignments like now during your Google Meet session or your online classes, you tell them, okay, Ali or Abu, you deserve a 4 because your content is whatever. Okay, so you try to familiarize them with all these sub skills. So when you have your peer correction or you have peer activity, you take one student's essay and you give another student, and they can use the sub skill to mark their friends as well. Okay, so those are the things that I wanted to highlight today for part 1. Any questions that you have? We have like another 15 more minutes. Yeah, I would agree with teacher Chal increase, right, from PT3 to SPM. And I've heard from Form 6 teachers that it's also similar to MUAT exam as well, right? They're listening and they're speaking tasks and writing. So I think there will be a cohesion as well. So they gradually move from PT3 to SPM and all. Any other questions? Hi, Kak Aisha, welcome.
Oh, hi Nandini. Okay, okay everyone. Okay, if you have any question, okay, you can raise your question now. So throughout the session, right, there's been several questions we have answered. Okay, okay. From Shirley, very clear explanation. Well done, Nandini. Thank you very much. Okay. From teacher Rasikam, extremely good. Okay, after teaching SPM for centuries, finally understood CEFR marking. Okay, but looks like a very generous marking. Okay, because of today we are going to cover part one, I think. So we are going to actually be a little bit generous, okay, in order to help students. Okay. Okay, you have presented very clearly. Okay, Nandini, very well done. Okay, so we have like some of good comments here. Okay, if you have any question, okay, we have 15 minutes left. Okay, please, if you want to ask question to our presenter, okay, KH Chong, helpful guidance given Nandini, thank you. Okay, everyone, is there any question you would like to ask our Miss Presenter for today? Okay, script 11, okay, C, content, okay. We're going back there.
And
Okay,
maybe
Miss
maybe some
Yuvashini, thank
teachers
you.
would like to share if is this what they were looking for, because SPM KBSM is like over and now we are moving to KSSM. Marking is
True, true.
different, paper
I mean,
is
like this is our first time, right? And we are using this brand new format. Okay. If there is any doubt, any question, okay, you can raise it now. Okay, before we end our session. Other parts, okay, we are going to actually wait for given dates, okay, from our presenter. Okay, so we keep you updated later. Okay. Okay, very clear explanation. Okay, these are all credits. Okay. Thank you, Nandini. Well done. Okay, is there any questions for our, where this video is going to be shared? Okay, from Irda Shuhada. I think this video it will be available in Mr. Izul channel. Okay, so thank you. We look forward to more session. Okay, because we have part two after it. Okay, and of course part three.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we have like different
Yeah.
session.
And Kak Aisha, what about the the kehadiran attendance list?
Okay, that would be shared by our SISC Plus officer. Okay, Madam Julia binti Abdul Muttalib. So, those who are presented today, okay, we are going to give you the certs, okay, for today's PLC. Okay, so fill in your attendance or you are going to get the certs from our JKD Kulai. Okay, when it's part two and part three, okay, we need to discuss about that later. And then when we have the fixed date, okay, we are going to let you know.
Yes, sure, sure.
Okay, thank you for the good sharing. Will we have a session for other skills too? Okay, of course. I mean, like this is actually, we are going to actually focus on writing skill. We are going to cover part one, part two, and part three. And then inshallah, we are going to have other skill as well. Okay, thanks a lot, Nandini. Okay, so as you can see, there are a lot of, thank you, Miss Nandini, Sir Izu, Miss Aisha, okay. Thank you, teachers. Good job. Okay. So I guess there's no more question. Okay, because we have like several questions throughout the session, right? And of course, we are learning. Okay, we are going to improve better. I mean, I think like because this is our first time okay using StreamYard. Okay, so we are going to improve. Okay, for the next session. Okay, hopefully. Okay. So on behalf of JKD, okay, on behalf of PPMP, we are honored to have all of you here. We can see, you are from Gombak, from Melaka, and we are overwhelmed, okay? We are, ecstatic, really happy to have you guys here, okay? So all in all, okay, today we focus on part one, okay, which is AC, okay, the first one, okay. So for the next session, we are going to cover part two and part three as well, okay. Tune in, okay. We are going to inform you guys in the group, okay. Of course, I think we are going to actually update the information. Okay, we are going to spread the information to the KP, okay, or to panel perunding mata pelajaran PPMP. Okay, sorry for the inconvenience, okay, caused throughout the session. Okay, the voice, the breaking voice, okay, somehow we can see a very unclear voice. Okay, we are going to improve on that. Okay, hopefully, inshallah. Okay. Thank you, Miss Nandini, for being a stupendous speaker. Okay.
Thank you for
Very
it.
clear, very precise. Okay. I think most of us, we have like deeper understanding on how to score better. I mean, like, some of us, think that, oh, this is like, very generous. And it turns out like Lembaga is being generous for the part one because we have like part two and part three, which is a bit difficult for the students. Okay, so I think like part one is for us to help the students, okay, to give them a bit of motivation, okay, especially in this brand new format, and we are now in pandemic, and I think it's a good motivation to keep the student going. Okay, Shariza for MSMK Sri Perak, Parik Bunta Perak. Okay, we have like, our participant from Perak. Okay, thank you for being here. Okay, we are very honored to have you. Okay, okay,
Kak
Taman
Aisha,
Kota Kulai.
Kak Aisha,
Okay, we have like Setiawan Perak. Well done, Nandini from Hasliza Zakaria.
Kak
Munshi
Aisha,
Abdullah Melaka.
can I interrupt
Oh,
you
we,
for a while,
we, we
Kak?
have someone from Kelantan as well. Okay, Pasir Gudang District. Okay, thank you. Patu. Okay, Sophie from Kedah.
Kak Aisha, I have lost
Okay, so
you.
I think we have 7 minutes to go. Is there any question that you want to ask our presenter? Okay, so you can find, okay, this PLC, we have recorded it. Okay, it is available in Mr. Izul's channel. Okay. Okay. So we have one or two questions. Okay, Miss Nandini will address them. Okay. So update. Okay, no cert. Okay, but we are going to give you SPLKM attendance. Okay, so your merits in your courses. Okay, Nandini, would you please?
Okay, I saw a question by teacher Norlin Shamira. As for this part one short communicative message, is it just going to be email or could it be note, message, or postcard? Actually, notes and messages as well as postcards are for PD3 level. Okay, so since they will be quite proficient to produce those, for SPM, for now, it is an email, an informal email. So you can train your students to write excellent emails for family members or friends. Okay. So note, message, and postcard, I don't think there are in our textbooks as well, right? But close-up textbook, you do. So Form 5, it is email. Unless there are other directives from Lembaga. So for now, yeah. So I hope I have answered your question.
Oh,
And I
Nandini,
also,
there's one more question. Okay, in
okay,
email, should we
okay.
sign off by writing yours sincerely, Abu?
Um, in some of the templates, you can see the word regards. So you can just write your name. But if it's an informal, you don't have to say sincerely. You can just sign off by saying yours or your friend or your dear friend, okay? Because it's informal. Yours sincerely is more to like formal audiences. So it's not necessary.
Okay, another question. Okay, article report, is it like the same format as SPM like previously?
Um, it is in accordance to the current textbook. I think previously it is more generic, right?
Yes,
But
yes,
now for
exactly.
article especially, the title should be given, and then all the points that are needed if it's for a school magazine, so what is needed, so that it's more for content, not for format per se, because you don't have extra marks for format, but you have to follow the minimal requirement. Like article, you must have a title, but you don't get penalized if you don't give the title. Okay, but we train our students to follow the template. Refer the current textbook. We have to move away from our last year SPM, last year kertas model karangan and all that. Use our full blast textbook and our download textbook. Those will be our main reference books.
Okay, so I think that's the end of our PLC for today. Okay, thank you everyone for being, stupendous audience. Okay, because we have like stupendous speaker. Okay, very good job everyone. Okay, I hope. Okay, on behalf of District Kulai, we really hope that this is, it can give you a better understanding, can help you better. Okay, because if we have better understanding as a teacher, as educator, we can help more. Okay, we can help our students more. Okay, so this is going to be, uh, it takes two to tango. Okay, so if we work better, we can provide better to our students. Okay, so thank you everyone. Okay, we are going to end our session for today. Okay, please, okay, we are going to update for the next session. Okay, so wait for the information from us. Okay, I think it's going to be soon. Okay, for the part 2 and part 3. Okay, for your someone asked about the registration link. Okay, it is given there, so please fill in your attendance. Okay, we are going to key in your attendance in your SPLG or SPLKN. Okay, okay, thank you everyone. Okay, we'll see you soon. Bye bye.